My name is Eleanor Romerdahl, and I'm the Vice President of the THREAD Board of Directors. On behalf of the board and everyone at THREAD, I want to welcome you to No Small Matter, a summit on the economic impact of early care and learning in Alaska. THREAD is committed to advancing the quality of early care and learning in Alaska. We have a dedicated board and a strong statewide network of staff who have a strategic focus on ensuring that children throughout Alaska have access to affordable and quality early care and learning. We understand the importance of high-quality experiences in child's earliest years, and we know that research has shown that investing in this critical time of development benefits not only the child, but also our current and future workforce and economy. Unfortunately, our local investments are not keeping pace with the growing research and national progress around the importance of early childhood education. This is no small matter. In fact, it's a very big matter, and that's why we are here today. I want to thank all of you for being here, and I want to emphasize that we need you. We need business leaders, parents, early educators and teachers, law enforcement, and others in the community to speak up and join with us in spurring innovative ideas at the local community level, while also calling for additional early childhood investments from private businesses, philanthropy, and at the state and federal levels. Although this is not an easy task, together we can make a difference. THREAD is proud to be able to host the summit today, and I would like to thank the staff, planning committee, partners, and sponsors who helped make the event possible. I'd also like to say a special thank you to our sponsors. A full list of our sponsors is on your table and in the program, and I want to take a minute to acknowledge each of them. Cars Safeway, State of Alaska Department of Health and Social Services and Department of Education and Early Development, Wells Fargo, UAA Center for Economic Development, ConocoPhillips, the Alaska Mental Health Trust, Matsu Health Foundation, Alaska Public Media, the Alaska Children's Trust, United Way of Anchorage, Best Beginnings, Credit Union One, Perkins Coie, Halcyon Consulting, Denali Media, Alaska Airlines, Dr. Matt Hirschfield, and First National Bank. Please join me in thanking our sponsors for their support and leadership. Thank you all again, and now I'll turn it over to THREAD CEO, Stephanie Berglund.
Good morning, and thank you all for joining us, and thank you, Elena, for that welcome from the board. Elena is on council with Perkins Coie, and we're really proud to have them among one of our sponsors, so thank you very much. I'm Stephanie Berglund, the CEO of THREAD, and THREAD is Alaska's Child Care Resource and Referral Network. And we work across the state, as Elena said, to improve access to affordable and high quality early care and learning. We have a really big vision for all children, and that's why we need all of you gathered here today. That's why we're hosting the summit, to partner with you so that we can do more and be more for our youngest children. And why? It's because our young children are no small matter, and early learning matters. This issue, like Elena said, is actually a really big matter. It matters for healthier families, for healthier workplaces, our healthier businesses, and a healthier economy. We had our first summit in 2015 to share the latest economic impact report of the early care and learning sector in Alaska. It was obvious by the end of the day that people were hungry to continue that conversation, and we've committed to hosting the summit every other year since. The summit gatherings have inspired more family-friendly practices. They've highlighted bright spots about where we're seeing wonderful changes happening to support young children and their families across the state. It's created a venue for sharing and understanding the latest data and economic impact of the industry. It's empowered advocacy and has created a stronger voice for change. We're proud to host this summit. This is our third, to continue the conversation about how we can better support our youngest Alaskans so they have the quality early care and learning that they deserve. This summit is really well timed this year, as we are in need of a deeper, more meaningful conversation, a deeper connection for how Alaskans want and need to support our youngest Alaskans and their families. We're just recovering from a summer and a legislative session where early childhood advocates were fighting. We were fighting to save early learning funding in the state budget. And there were times during the session and this summer, frankly, that I was shocked. I was shocked that we were fighting for just over $8 million. That is a really small amount of money, $8.5 million. No small matter that we know has such a huge, huge impact on early care and learning. We were fighting for a huge impact of proven home visiting programs, such impactful early literacy programs. We were fighting for highly valued, subsidized early care and education programs like our Head Start and pre-K. These are critical services for our young children and families. In the last 4 years, 43 states have increased their investments in early childhood, and Alaska has not. We are in a time that data and research are so clear. We have highlighted roadmaps provided by experts across the country and around the world about where we should go for the very best outcomes for our children, yet we remain stuck and not taking action. We're not questioning where we should increase dollars and how to help our state grow. We're at a time that some are still having the conversation and questioning if we should be investing at all and whose role and responsibility is it to raise our children. And I know that in our heart, Alaskans know the answer to that like no other place. It takes a village to raise our children, to value our children, and that means all of us. At Thread, we see that action every day. We see our close neighbors and our friends helping each other out. We see early educators and teachers caring for children as if they're their very own. Look at the incredible response after the Anchorage earthquake last fall, how people rallied around our community. We saw it in the outcry of advocacy and action where advocates across the state ultimately reversed the early childhood vetoes in the budget. Give yourselves a round of applause for that. Huge effort. I'm so proud of that collective advocacy, and I hope you feel the hope along with me of the growing number of people who are supporting early childhood programs and services and ultimately do want what's best for our young children and families. I'm so glad you're here with us today, and I look forward to strengthening our values and our village of support for our children. This is no small matter. Today, I'm really excited about our program and want to give you a high-level overview about what we're going to hear about and discuss. This morning, you'll hear from Jim Calvin, the co-owner and principal of the McDowell Group, together with Trevor Storrs, the president and CEO of the Alaska Children's Trust, about the latest early care and learning economic data and about the well-being of our families and young children. Then we'll shine a spotlight on Credit Union One, an Alaskan company leading with bold investments in early care and learning. Our lunch keynote is hearing from Laura Falsgraf and Rachel Ganini from the film No Small Matter. This film has been shown across the country, and they will share with us how it's creating conversation, awareness, and action around the importance of quality early childhood education. That presentation will be followed by a Spark speech with Christine Alexander and Lainey John from the Johns Hopkins Idealist Institute, who will share their research and recommendations for investing in Alaska's early education workforce. That will be followed by a panel discussing government innovation with special guest Tanja Rucker from the National League of Cities, Alaska Representative Zach Fields, and Mayor Beth Weldon and Robert Barr from the City and Borough of Juneau. Our final session of the day will be an interactive design thinking session led by Margot Fliss and her colleagues from the University of Alaska Center for Economic Development. Knowing a bit more about our agenda today, I'd like you to pause and reflect on a minute on these two questions. What challenge do you bring to the summit today? We know there are several challenges facing the early childhood sector. And what do you want to learn more about? Is it how your business can invest? Is it what families need? Or is it how we can use data for more action? And what do you hope to get out from the summit today? What do you hope to take with you? So pause for a minute and think about these questions. Please let your answers to these questions inspire you, share and discover with one another, because I know together we will find better ways to support our families and young children. We will strengthen the quality of early care and learning, including investing in our early learning workforce. Together, we will create stronger systems of support through our businesses, through our employers, and our communities, and this will create a stronger state infrastructure and economy. To join me and Elena in welcoming you, we now have a special video message from Senator Lisa Murkowski.
Hello and good morning to everyone. I'm Lisa Murkowski. Welcome to this summit devoted to the economic impact of early care and learning here in Alaska. And for those of you who've traveled from other states, I thank you. And I certainly appreciate all of the Alaskans who focus on these very important issues. Now, I don't have to tell you that ensuring Alaska's families have access to high quality and affordable childcare is important to our economy. Because parents can't work and businesses can't find qualified and focused employees if they can't find someone that they trust to care for their children. And I don't have to tell you that ensuring our children get a good foundation for learning early in their lives is important for their future and our state's future. Because Alaska's future innovators, leaders, and employees are growing the synapses in their brains as we speak. And you wouldn't be here if you were unaware of these facts. But you're here because you're committed to being part of the solution, as am I. Back in Washington, D.C., as a member of the Senate Health and Education Committee, I'm dedicated to strengthening the policies that govern the Child Care and Development Block Grant, Head Start, the 21st Century Community Learning Centers, and other programs that seek to make sure that our children, from birth to their late teens, have somewhere safe and enriching to go before they're ready for school and throughout their growing up. As a member of the Senate Appropriations Committee, these programs are among my highest priorities. But federal programs and dollars are not enough. So throughout the day today, you'll get an update on the bright spots and where more work needs to be done. You'll hear about the impacts that good child care can have on families, communities, and Alaska's economy, and what happens when child care is absent. You'll learn about innovative ideas that may have practical use in Alaska. You'll hear about the progress made and the solutions found at the local level. And then it'll be time to roll up your sleeves to move the ball forward. So I thank you for being here and for recognizing that your experiences, your expertise, and your talents must be brought to bear on the connection between early childhood care and education and the economic future that we want for ourselves and for our children. So thank you for accepting the challenge and the responsibility to find the solutions. Have a great, great conference.
We're so grateful for Senator Murkowski joining us this morning in spirit and from afar. She's been a great leader in Washington for child care and legislation supporting early childhood and to best implement the federal services that she's fighting so hard for Alaska. I wanted to share also that THRED will be supporting the 2020 census, so we want to make sure every child and family are counted to maximize and leverage all of the supports and services that we know our families deserve. We have a great day ahead, and I want to thank the THRED board and staff, and especially give a shout out to Jenny Pollard. Where are you, Jenny? Are you in the room? Yay, Jenny, stand up and be recognized. Jenny is the lead coordinator for our event, and her great marketing and development team, our event planning committee. I want to thank Gonzalez Marketing, who's been our event partner, and all of our partners and sponsors who helped make today possible. I have a few housekeeping things before we get started. Most importantly, I want to call out this postcard on your table. As I mentioned, we are going to be hearing a spark speech from Johns Hopkins University in the Ideals Institute. And we want to include information about you as part of their presentation. So if you have a phone or laptop with you, please use this link to fill out a quick survey. And if you can do that sometime this morning before 10:45, as it says on the postcard, that would be really helpful for our data and information today. If you are here and would like to receive HR credits or THRED professional development training credits, please ensure you're registered, which means you have a printed name tag, and you check the registration table at the conclusion of the meeting today for an evaluation and training certificate. I also want to call your attention to your name tags. These are thumb drives on your name tags, and they have most of the presentations and videos that you will be seeing today. So you can take that with you to share that with others. It's my pleasure now to introduce Jonathan King. Jonathan will be our MC for the day. Many of you know Jonathan, but he is back by popular demand. He's like a movie star around here. Jonathan was a presenter at our first summit. He was our MC at our last summit. Thank you, Jonathan. Jonathan's the owner of Halcyon Consulting, one of our great sponsors. He's a professional coach, an economist, and also a fabulous Thread board member. What I appreciate most about Jonathan is that he has a personal passion for our work, quality of early care and learning, and his great sense of humor and excitement about economics he so generously shares with Thread. So we're thankful he's with us here today. Please join me in welcoming Jonathan King.
Yeah, there's nothing like coming up to the stage and being completely red as you approach the stage. Thank you, Stephanie, for that wonderful introduction. Hi, my name is Jonathan King. I'll be your MC for today, which means that I'm the guy that introduces the guy or gal that introduces the guy or gal that you're actually here to see. So it's wonderful to be here. I intersect with this in a number of ways. First of all, as an economist, I have a particular interest in the economic impact of early childhood education. As a private sector employer, I've had the struggle of hiring qualified workforce, qualified labor, and we all know that qualified labor, starts right here, right? It starts at birth. And it's a challenge in this state, even in recession, to find qualified labor. But I guess the reason that I'm most excited to be up here and happy to be your MC for the day is that as a father and a spouse who spent a decade doing drop-offs and pickups and finding that right person to look after our child, I know how important this sector is, right? Because when that person wasn't there, I wasn't there, and my wife wasn't there, right? We had to be where we needed to be, which was with our child. So that's the reason I'm most proud to be your MC today, is really not just as a Thread board member, not as an economist, not as a sponsor, not as a private sector employer, but as a father and a spouse. So we are excited to be joined today by Stacy Weitzner. Stacy is over here in the corner. Stand up, Stacy, and wave. There's Stacy. Stacy is our visual note taker for today. So Stacy will be with us for the entire day to capture key points about our conversations, and her final work product will be used to share with others what was said here today and what the action steps are that we need to take to strengthen quality early care and learning in Alaska. Go over during the day and see how that's evolving. If you've never been in a session where there has been a visual note taker or a visual facilitator, it is amazing to watch them work. And I say this as someone who literally could not draw his way out of a wet paper bag, right? I mean, it's all analytical, no artistic talent. We'll be having 2 sessions back-to-back this morning, followed by an early lunch break. If you need a bio break, if you need coffee, if you need anything, please feel free to just get up and walk away, right? Just walk out, come back, but walk out, take care of yourself, and come back. No shame in getting up. You're not going to bother the speakers. You're not going to bother anybody. Take care of yourself so you can be at your best. At both of these sessions, we're going to have time for Q&A. There's note cards on your tables. So please write down questions that you might have, and Thread staff will be circulating to pick up those questions during each of those presentations. I'd like to remind you, if you're someone who tweets or uses social media, to please use the hashtag #ThreadSummit when you're tweeting, and share your experience here throughout the day. We just remind you to tweet responsibly.